At 8:18 p.m., 19 Russian generals toasted a peace treaty designed to cement their total victory, convinced the war was finally over. They had no idea Ukraine was using their arrogance as a weapon. In exactly 60 seconds, 4 modified hobby drones will turn their celebration into the most devastating decapitation strike in modern history. It is 7 degrees Fahrenheit in downtown Moscow, and the heavy snow is falling thick enough to blind the city's sophisticated surveillance cameras. Russia believe they are untouchable, protected by the most dense air defense network on the planet, confident that the S-500 batteries on the city outskirts make them gods. But 1.2 miles away, a figure standing in the shadows is about to prove that $15 billion of air defense can be defeated by a Samsonite suitcase. The man places the luggage onto the frozen pavement. He unzips it, revealing 4 black, foldable FPV drones with carbon fiber wings tucked neatly against their bodies. He puts on his digital goggles. On the screen, 4 infrared perspectives light up, painting the target in a digital glow. The operator whispers, "Let's ruin their party." At 8:21 p.m., the 4 drones launch from the suitcase, but they don't climb, they drop, leveling out just 22 feet above the pavement. This specific launch window wasn't chosen by chance. Ukrainian intelligence had spent 3 weeks hacking into the Moscow traffic grid and tracking the heat signatures of FSB patrol vehicles. They discovered a fatal pattern. At 8:20 p.m. during shift changes, the perimeter security creates a blind spot. Tonight, confident in the new peace treaty and distracted by the celebrations, that gap has widened from 90 seconds to a generous 4 minutes. Ukraine didn't just get lucky, they waited for the exact moment the Russians blinked. Drone 1 cuts hard to the left, skimming over the frozen Moskva River, hovering just 8 feet above the ice, so low its prop wash kicks up snow dust. Drone 2 dives under the Bolshoi-Kameny Bridge, utilizing the massive steel structure as a physical shield against radar waves. Drone 3 hugs the red brick walls of the Kremlin itself, dodging the hanging Christmas lights like a hummingbird in a minefield. Drone 4 swings wide, acting as the redundancy, the backup quarterback in case the primary play goes south. They are moving at a cruising speed of 110 miles per hour. The wind is gusting at 18 miles per hour, buffeting the lightweight carbon frames, but the gimbal systems keep the camera feed stabilized at 100%. To a casual observer, they are nothing more than shadows blurring past street lamps. But the real magic is the physics of their flight path. By flying under 20 feet, the drones exploit urban clutter. To a radar system, the return signal from the drone looks exactly like the return signal from a moving truck or a swaying billboard. The system's computer filters it out as background noise, effectively treating the most dangerous threat in Moscow like digital spam. Parked on Vanishes Square, sitting like an iron beast in the snow exactly 460 yards from the Kremlin walls, is the apex predator of Russian short-range air defense, the Pantsir S-1. Its massive 1RS-21E phased array radar spins 360 degrees, scanning the electromagnetic spectrum for anything that dares to move in the Moscow sky. Inside the command vehicle, the radar operator spots the anomaly. 4 faint dots flicker on his screen, cutting through the clutter, moving at 110 miles per hour while skimming just under 20 feet. He flags the targets immediately, his hand hovering over the engagement switch. But the battery commander overrides him. He isn't looking at the radar scope, he is looking at the news ticker on his secure tablet, treaty draft finalized. To him, the war is effectively over. The psychological weight of the draft treaty makes the idea of a suicide strike on the Kremlin seem impossible. He dismisses the blips as urban noise, likely local teenagers filming TikToks or a glitch caused by the heavy snowfall. He refuses to waste $90,000 missiles on what he assumes is a $50 glitch. That assumption is the single greatest weapon Ukraine has. Just a block away, the terrifying Krasuka 4 electronic warfare system, a jammer powerful enough to blind satellites, sits silent. It remains in standby mode. The Russians aren't being defeated by superior technology. They are being defeated by their own premature sense of security. They are leaving the front door unlocked because they think the police are already on the way, and 4 plastic drones are about to walk right in. At 8:23 p.m., the stealth approach ends. The 4 drones reach the Kremlin walls and abruptly pitch up, climbing vertically to their attack altitude of 200 feet. On Vanishes Square, the Pantsir operator finally gets a hard lock. The urban clutter is gone. His screen lights up red. He screams, "Engagement!" and slams the joystick back, trying to bring the twin 30mm cannons to bear. Outside, the massive turret whines, its hydraulic motors screaming as they fight to elevate the guns. But physics is faster than hydraulics. The drones reach their apex and roll over into a near vertical dive, accelerating past 130 miles per hour directly above the vehicle. The Pantsir's turret jerks upward and stops dead with a metallic clank. It has hit its maximum elevation limit of 85 degrees. The operator watches helplessly as the targets slip into the cone of silence, the blind spot directly above the radar where the guns cannot reach. Simultaneously, the Krasuka 4 system wakes up. The automated jammer detects the radio transmission and fires a massive pulse of electronic noise to sever the connection. On the operator's tablet in the alley, the signal strength bar flickers, but it doesn't break. The Russian electronic warfare officer stares at his spectrum analyzer in confusion. He sees a spike of data on 2.4 gigahertz, but before he can jam it, the spike vanishes. 0.005 seconds later, it reappears on 5.8 gigahertz, then on 900 megahertz. The drones are hopping frequencies 1,800 times per second. The jammer is trying to catch a hummingbird with a sledgehammer, swinging wildly at empty air while the data packets slip through the gaps. Then, the final Russian defense kicks in, GPS spoofing. The Kremlin broadcasts a fake satellite signal so powerful it overrides reality. On the drone's navigation display, the coordinates instantly jump from Moscow city center to Sheremetyevo Airport 20 miles away. A standard drone would veer off course trying to correct its path. These drones don't flinch. The onboard AI ignores the fake satellites and looks at the world through the camera. It scans the silhouette of the Senate building below, matching the curve of the dome and the spacing of the windows against its internal 3D database. It doesn't need to know where it is. It knows what it is looking at. The crosshairs snap onto the ventilation shaft with a terrifying mechanical certainty. The trap has failed, the shield is broken, and the scalpel is falling. At 8:24 p.m., the moment of silence ends abruptly. The FSB's spectrum monitoring unit finally isolates the anomaly amidst the city's background noise, and the secure radio network erupts with a code red, confirmed drone swarm Sector 4. The response is instantaneous. 2 K-226 light attack helicopters lift off from the Lubyanka helipad, their searchlights stabbing through the snow, while 6 UAZ Patriot tactical vehicles screech out of the Spassky Gate, tires spinning on the ice as they converge on the operator's position. In the alleyway, the operator is no longer a stationary shadow. He is running. He sprints down the middle of Arbat Street, the FPV goggles still strapped to his face, effectively blind to the physical world around him. He navigates the street by memory and luck, his mind locked into the digital feed while his hands hold the controller with surgical steadiness, even as his heart hammers against his ribs. Then, the Russians drop the hammer. The Krasuka 4 system powers up to maximum output, blasting the Moscow skyline with a tsunami of RF energy, powerful enough to microwave civilian electronics. On the operator's screen, the high-definition video feed dissolves into blinding white static. The connection is severed. For 11 agonizing seconds, he is flying blind. In any standard engagement, this is the moment the drones drift off course and crash into the city below. But this is where the ace is played. The operator doesn't panic. He flips a physical toggle on his controller. AI autonomous. The drones stop listening. They cut their receivers, ignoring the jamming because they are no longer taking orders. They switch entirely to their internal inertial measurement units and onboard optical processors, transforming from remote-controlled vehicles into flying robots executing a pre-programmed kill chain. Desperate to intercept, 2 mobile Pantsir units race onto the Garden Ring Road. Their 2 A-38M cannons spin up, firing a salvo of 12 57E6 interceptor missiles. Each $90,000 missile streaks into the night sky, turning the snowstorm into a kaleidoscope of fire and smoke. But they are shooting at ghosts. The drones have already dove below the roofline, weaving through the architectural canyons where the missiles cannot follow. The expensive interceptors detonate harmlessly against the clouds. With the air defense distracted, drones 1 and 2 initiate their terminal run. They aren't aiming for the thick concrete roof. They are hunting the building's Achilles heel, the technical ventilation shaft on the southern terrace. Through the onboard AI's processing feed, the dark square of the vent rushes up. The image shakes violently as the drones enter the turbulent airflow of the shaft. Impact. The first explosion isn't the kill shot, it is the breach. The warhead detonates against the reinforced concrete cap, shattering the blast dampers and blowing the heavy steel doors off their hinges. A gaping, smoking hole opens up into the bunker complex below. This is the double tap. Before the smoke can even clear, drones 3 and 4 dive vertically through the breach created by their brothers. The timing is precise to the millisecond, leaving the Russians zero time to react. The path to the generals is now wide open. The final 10 seconds blur into a single, terrifying heartbeat, while Drone 3 plummets down the pitch-black throat of the ventilation shaft, shaking violently as debris from the breach charge rains down around it like shrapnel. The operator is fighting his own battle for timing at Kurskaya metro station. He hurdles the turnstile without breaking stride, diving through the closing doors of a departing train just as the pneumatic seals hiss shut. The noise of the city is instantly cut off, replacing the chaos of the chase with the mundane rattle of a subway car. He slides into a plastic seat between a sleeping construction worker and a grandmother holding grocery bags, looking like just another tired commuter heading home. But on his lap, the tablet is burning bright. His hands are perfectly steady as he watches the endgame unfold. Deep underground, the darkness of the ventilation shaft ends in a blinding flash of white light. The drone smashes through the final grate and erupts into the bunker, shattering the pristine silence of the command center. The AI instantly acquires the target, filling the operator's screen with the polished mahogany of the U-shaped table and the crystal glasses of beluga vodka raised high in celebration. The commander of the Moscow military district sees the black shape diving from the ceiling. The laugh dies in his throat. His eyes widen, reflecting the drone's camera lens, and the glass slips from his fingers, crashing onto the table. In that fraction of a second, he realizes the air defense shield he trusted with his life was a lie. On the subway train, the operator's thumb hovers over the final red button on the touchscreen. He doesn't hesitate. He presses Mark. 10. The drone flares its wings to maximize the shrapnel spread. 8. Drone 4 enters the room right behind it, sealing their fate. 6. The generals scramble, knocking over chairs in a futile attempt to outrun the blast. The screen goes black. At 8:28 p.m. and 44 seconds, physics takes absolute control. 4 detonations occur within 3.4 seconds of each other. In an open field, a blast wave dissipates rapidly, losing energy as it expands. But inside a reinforced concrete bunker buried 60 feet underground, there is nowhere for the energy to go. The shock waves reflect off the steel walls, compounding and amplifying with every bounce. The atmospheric pressure inside the room instantly spikes to 3,200 psi, roughly 100 times the pressure inside a truck tire. The bunker doesn't just explode, it becomes a hyperbaric oven. The thermobaric effect consumes every molecule of oxygen in a fraction of a second, while the overpressure liquefies internal organs before the sound of the blast can even register in the human brain. 19 generals, their senior advisors, and the entire high command of the Moscow military district simply cease to exist as biological entities. The bottle of beluga vodka on the table doesn't break, it vaporizes. Hundreds of miles away in Sochi, on a secure video conference screen in Vladimir Putin's private office, the live feed from the Moscow bunker abruptly cuts to black, total signal loss. The peace treaty they were celebrating is still sitting on the table, now nothing more than ash floating in a tomb. The entire command and control infrastructure for Russia's capital is paralyzed. For the next 96 hours, the head of the beast has been severed. Back on the subway, the train rattles rhythmically through the dark tunnels, rocking gently on the tracks. The operator calmly removes the FPV goggles, his movements slow and deliberate. He snaps the micro SD card in half, drops the plastic shards into his pocket, and tosses the goggles into a trash bin near the door. He pulls a worn paperback book from his coat, slumping slightly in his seat like a man exhausted after a long shift at the factory. He blends perfectly into the crowd of winter coats and tired faces. No FSB agent will ever find him. He has already vanished into the sprawling anonymity of the Moscow winter. A single encrypted text message arrives at intelligence headquarters in Kyiv, flashing briefly on a secure terminal. Party canceled. Heading home. Let's look at the final balance sheet of this operation. The cost: 4 modified hobby drones worth a combined total of $3,600. The return: the elimination of 19 senior commanders, the destruction of a strategic command hub, and the shattering of Russia's illusion of safety. The return on investment here isn't just high, it is infinite. Ukraine has proven that in the modern era, you don't need a billion-dollar missile to change the course of history. You just need a suitcase, 11 minutes, and the patience to wait for your enemy to get comfortable. The lesson of the day is simple. Never raise a glass in Moscow when you know there is still a suitcase left in town. Comment, send another suitcase below if you want to see part 2 where we break down the operator's impossible escape route out of Russia. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of warfare.